Hey, everybody, welcome to episode number 17 of the Audible Farm podcast. This week I'm sitting down with Cobey Murray. He is the bassist in the Astro Bastards. They are a punk-ish style band from the Des Moines area, and I've got the opportunity to play with them a handful of times. If you listen to some of the older podcasts, I've mentioned them a couple of times because they're always fun to watch. It reminds me a little bit of myself being younger and just having a blast out there playing music, and it's infectious. It's really fun energy, and we get to play a show together in my hometown of Humboldt, Iowa. We're going to be up there on February 2nd. We're going to talk about that a little bit in the podcast, and I will also talk a little bit more about that in the outro to the podcast. However, right now it's time for the interview I did with Cobey Murray, and let's get after it. Episode 17, Cobey Murray.
It's the Audible Farm podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
What is up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
No, I'm doing real good.
Very good.
Now today with Cobey Murray, if I already got that in the intro, but you play bass in the Astro Bastards, that's correct?
I do. I play bass and I shout a bit.
Shout a bit. So
Yeah.
you do some of the singing there too, or are you the primary singer?
We kind of bounce back and forth, me and Joe, but it's pretty even, back and forth. Just depends on what fits the song. If we're doing it really sloppy, really angry, normally I'll just shout over it, but if we want something a little bit more smooth, a little bit more polished, then he's the guy to go to.
He's the guitarist in the band?
Yeah, he plays guitar as well.
Yeah, so let's give a shout out to all the band members here right off the bat. Who you got in the band?
We got Joe Brittman, and he plays guitar and he sings. He's only in the Astro Bastards, but he's a phenomenal guy. Then we got Carson Reed on drums, and he's in Morbo.
Yeah, baby.
He's playing guitar for Morbo now, I think. He used to be on drums, but I think he's switching over to guitar.
What? That's cool.
Yeah, no, he plays everything. He's awesome. And then he's in a band called Jefferson Street. They're playing with us later in the year. They do like blues rock and stuff, so that's gonna be a cool
awesome.
show.
Dude, I want to check that one out. That would be pretty cool. I mean, like blues rock's kind of right up my alley, so
exactly. Yeah,
I dig on that stuff. So how'd you start like playing bass, or is that like your primary instrument? I see you got a couple guitars laying around here.
Yeah, I'll play just about anything I can get my hands on, but bass has been my primary. I had a buddy that I played guitar with in middle school. That's about when I started, and he was really good at guitar, but he wanted me to get on bass. That way I could back him on some stuff and just lay down some grooves. So I started in middle school, and I've been playing ever since. That's been kind of my primary focus was bass, but...
That's sweet. I feel like a lot of people start out playing an instrument. They like them and a buddy, and like the one guy chooses one instrument, the other one chooses the other one, and I feel like that always seems to be the way it goes down. Yeah. And I don't know. That was kind of how it went with us. Like I chose guitar, and like Clint. I grew up with Clint actually, and he played drums already. So I mean, like everybody just kind of had their little bit of a niche. Like we had a guy played bass in the jazz band, and he was like, I'll play bass with you. So it was like, everybody just chose something and went with it. I'm glad to see that, like, I don't know, the fact that you still do play other instruments, though. Like, you ever tried playing drums?
I have tried a bit to play drums. I can lay down a basic groove, but I can't do too much fancy stuff on drums.
I feel like that's something that comes up in a lot of these podcasts, is like how tough it is to actually play the drums, because I'm kind of like you. Yeah,
you can normally pick up anything with strings once you get it down and make it sound good, but drums are a whole new animal.
Yeah, and I always thought that was weird. Like the first time I picked up a ukulele, I was like, this really isn't, like, it's different, but it's not that much different, you know?
A lot of the same principles, same concepts.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I even picked up a mandolin and started playing a mandolin, and I was like, this isn't terribly different either. It's kind of just like upside down a little bit. But,
exactly. Yeah.
And so I thought that was pretty cool. Like, that's one of the cool things about stringed instruments, I feel. I've never tried to play anything with a bow, like a violin.
I've tried a violin, and it is definitely weird. The fingering's mostly the same, but just the bow, it makes a whole new, like, rhythmic puzzle. It's weird.
Yeah, I've never tried that. I had a couple cousins of mine played violin growing up, and they were in some, like, string quartets and whatever, and they were always really good at it, and I was, it's just one of those things. It wasn't my bag, so I never tried it, but I don't know. So that was like my only experience with violins, other than like picking one up at a music shop and being like, let's see how this thing works. And then
immediately putting it down.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, that's enough of that. I got this.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like I've never tried to like bow a guitar or anything. Like I don't know. Maybe it's too Led Zeppelin-y. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I don't know how that'd sound.
yeah, that's totally not my thing. How did you guys start like in the Astro Bastards? Like when you guys all got together, how'd that shake down?
So the original Astro Bastards lineup was pretty much none of the members now, with the exception of me.
Okay.
It was me and my buddy Luis. Back in the day, we just wanted to crank out some like really noisy punk stuff, and it was really avant-garde almost, not really melodic at all, just kind of loud, crunchy, repetitive garbage.
Yeah.
And we had a different drummer at the time, but none of that lasted too long. There was just a lot of timing differences, and we couldn't really work out the practice schedule, stuff like that. And then obviously just the personality differences that come with being in a band. So
Oh yeah.
so eventually we cut the other drummer, got Carson in, and the way that we met Carson was actually pretty weird. We were looking for a new drummer forever and ever and ever. We couldn't find any. There's just nobody playing locally at the time.
Yeah.
So we just camped out in the drum section of a Guitar Center until we found a guy that would play for us.
That's awesome.
And just everything worked out, and now he's one of our best buds, and it's been good ever since. But then we found my old buddy Joe. I hadn't hung out with him in a while, and he was classically trained since he was really little on guitar, so he's got a really good background in guitar.
That's sweet.
And we just kind of introduced him to the whole punk thing and got him going on that, and ever since he's been with us, he's just been phenomenal and a great addition to the group. And eventually things just didn't work out with Luis, and had to kind of just go our separate ways. Don't want to say anything negative, don't want to start any drama, of course.
No, that's
but
cool. That's cool.
yeah, just kind of the way things work out. In the beginning, we were actually playing that noise punk stuff, and we were booked with a lot of hair bands. We played with Lionheart a few times.
Oh, nice.
And,
Yeah.
and Midnight Devil. So it's kind of a weird combo, but it was a cool way to get into it.
Yeah, I feel like Lionheart's willing to give most bands an opportunity to play, since I mean they've been around for like 15 plus years or something.
Yeah, and they always draw a pretty good crowd too.
Yeah, so they're always willing to give somebody the opportunity to like open up for them and stuff. Because we played a show with them. I believe we played a show with them last year. Maybe it was earlier. But yeah, we have played a show with them. I believe it was Unity or Three Finger Betty. Forgive me, I forget. But yeah, Lionheart's a hell of a band, man. I love playing with those guys.
Yeah, great guys, really nice.
So you got this lineup set up, and how long have you guys had this 3-piece that you got right now?
This 3-piece we've been playing with since I believe like Christmas of last year. So I think it's just about 1 year fully as this lineup. But we've been active playing shows just about since late 2015.
Nice. Yeah. I feel like I've seen you play before with a different lineup, but I was not 100% sure.
You probably have. I think we played with Betty a long time ago at the like Fremont.
Bingo. Yeah, it was about 2 years ago or something.
Yeah, and we had some different guys, but
yeah, and I didn't want to say anything because it's one of those tough deals where that like sometimes bands swap out members, but I don't want to be the guy that like goes up and it's like, hey, I don't remember you, and it's like, well, I've been in the band 15 years, man. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, my bad, okay, and that's one of the reasons I started this podcast, to kind of like talk to people and get to know them and kind of like figure out what's going on in their little music scene, because my music scene is a pretty small anthill, and
yeah.
I gotta try and stretch my wings out a little bit and get to know some people, and this is actually pretty cool to do that. And
exactly.
Yeah, man, thanks for sitting down with me. Like, you and I actually have played a handful of shows. How many times do you think we've played together? Like 4 or 5,
3 or
6?
4 or 5, yeah,
something like that. A lot of times it's with the sexually aggressive Silverbacks.
Yeah, those guys are hilarious.
Love them. And you guys split an EP recently with the Silverbacks, right?
Yeah, we did a 6-song EP. They did the first 3 songs, and we did the last 3. And
awesome.
We called it Sexy Bastards because it's them and us. So, yeah, we just threw together some songs and put it out just this past month, and it's a pretty fun album. It's very goofy, very lighthearted, but hard hitting rock and roll.
Yeah, on the front there's a picture of Jesus like drop kicking a silverback.
Yeah, Jesus drop kicking a silverback gorilla.
Yeah.
Matt Graves did the art for the album cover.
Oh,
Shout
nice.
out to Matt Graves. He's awesome. He's done
sweet.
all of our logos, all of our artwork. He's phenomenal.
That's cool.
Yeah. But no, we have Dropkick by Jesus on there. That's kind of a fan favorite when we play at shows. So
Yeah,
we
man.
thought Jesus Dropkick in a Silverback would be pretty funny.
Yeah, man. I totally dig that song. It was one of those songs that's just it's catchy enough, and I mean, like I said, I've only seen you a handful of times, and you guys do a lot of shows. So some of your regular fans were like super into it, just running around, just having a great time at the last show we played with you, and it was one of those things
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, this is their go-to song. That's why it's near the end of the set. And
Oh yeah.
everybody's going nuts. Even people that like had never seen you before, because I want to say like you went out there and jumped in the crowd with your bass and were like moshing with people, and you're like, I don't even know this guy, and
Yeah, no, I Dropkicked a dude I'd never even met at that
Yeah.
show.
that's so awesome.
Took it like a champ.
Yeah, yeah, it's so funny because that dude, like, I wouldn't have drop kicked him.
I was kind of scared what would happen once we got up, but he high-fived me and we kept going.
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, that show was tons of fun. Like, I mean, it's not that you guys don't blow me away, but I was just standing there like mouth agape. Everyone was going nuts for you guys. You guys had space suits on. You came up in a makeshift spaceship. Let's you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that was kind of last minute. We had this whole elaborate plan that we were going to be the Astro Bastards live in concert and going to get these spacesuits. Lefties is a great lighting system, so we thought it would like be really cool reflectively, and it looked awesome.
It was amazing.
We had the green face paint to look like Martians,
Yep.
and then we were going to like spray paint this whole cardboard box and actually make it look like a spaceship, but we just ran out of time, so we sprawled spaceship on the side of it with the Sharpie and went crazy.
I feel like that made it even better. Like, had you went up there with an actual, like, really well done spaceship, it would have been cool. But like the fact that you guys just went up there in a cardboard box, like,
It's more like, I don't give a fuck. This is what we're doing.
dude, it was so punk rock. It was awesome. Like, that kind of stuff just reminds me of being a kid, just wanting to do like the crazy stuff. And I don't know. I feel like the music scene could use a little bit more of that.
Oh yeah.
It's like theatrics, but like good-hearted, and you're kind of just like poking fun at yourself, and not really, because it's like serious, and it's like everything combined into one, and it's just a good time, man.
A little goofy, but still keeping the punk rock soul in there.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are like, if every band had a persona, you guys would be the band in the corner of the party with like a lampshade on your head.
Yeah.
just kind of thinking around.
For sure, yeah.
And dude, I love it. You guys are always having fun. I've seen you guys always seem to do something fun at every show almost. It's always, do you guys choose it that way, or is it just kind of what happens?
So a while back, we really didn't do anything too goofy. We just get up and do the show and then go home. But I guess one day I was just like, I'm going to wear this giraffe suit. And it was like, it was this giraffe costume that I wore when I was like a kid, and it was just like this vest that went down to your ankles. Well, as an adult, it fit perfectly as like a crop top.
Oh, man.
So it had the hoodie with the giraffe head on top, and I wore it at a show, and it was just hilarious, and we just kept doing goofy shit ever since. I mean, last year we did the Valentine's Day Massacre, and we dressed in drag. That was a really fun show.
Yep.
All in some dresses, and it was real goofy. And then we've got some plans for the future. Definitely, we're gonna come out to that Humboldt show, and we got a good plan for that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great time. I'm super stoked. You guys never cease to excite everybody. It's just so crazy to. I don't know. I wish when I was your age I had the gumption to play guitar as much as all you guys do, and like enjoy it as much. I mean, maybe it's just you guys have the opportunity in the area to do it, but you guys also definitely have the talent to do it. So
thank you.
Props to you guys. That Humboldt show, that's February 2nd.
Yes, sir.
In Humboldt at the Prowler, and that will be we're coming back. We did New Year's Eve there, Three Finger Betty, and Three Finger Betty's coming back, and we're bringing the Astro Bastards with us because they're fun. So
can't wait.
Yeah, get ready, Humboldt. It's going to be a great show. You guys going to bring any of your friends up with you?
Oh, we're going to bring the caravan. We're bringing a war party.
Oh man, I saw that rumored online, and I was like, oh, is this for real, or is this I don't know. So this is going to be great. Like, I can't wait. I hope everybody shows up to this show. Make sure you get to Humboldt and check that one out, and everybody from the area, because I know there were people that wanted to go to the New Year's Eve show and they either couldn't because they had other plans, or they just stayed at home and fell asleep, or whatever it happened to be. But I don't know. this is your chance, February 2nd, because I don't know, we don't do too many bookings up in Humboldt, and recently we've done a handful, so it's pretty awesome. But
We've never been there, so this is your only shot.
yeah, it's your only shot to see the Astro Bastards. What other places have you played? Because usually you do a lot of shows around the Des Moines area, right?
Yeah, we do a lot in Des Moines. We play a lot at Lefties. We've done Vaudeville once or twice. Vaudeville's a great venue. I love that place.
Yeah, man.
We've done the Rock Shop countless times. Underground Rock Shop is one of my favorite places to play. It's where we started playing. It's just really good underground. The bands that are just up and coming and you don't always get to see all the time. So Underground Rock Shop, shout out to Steve Ratcliffe. He's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Creating a great space for people to make music.
Yeah, it always seems like he doesn't do almost any shows there. I mean, they're pretty few and far between, but when he does, there's almost always one band on there that's a traveling band that's mind-blowingly good. I do my best to go in with a clean slate and not like listen to many recordings of bands, because I feel like if I listen to it before I go to the show, I draw like a pre-conclusion to seeing them.
Yeah.
So I always try and go in with a clean slate and just check people out, and it's so crazy. You go in there and you just see like a punk bands. They got like hippie style bands that come in there, and I mean, it's just anything across the map, and it's awesome because I mean, like Betty's played a couple shows there, and they're always fun. Have you played? He used to have one back room, and now I think he's moved to the other side.
Yeah, so he played a show. We played a bunch of our shows in the old room, and that was a lot bigger. And then recently he opened that up to do a big record room, and now he's got a little bit smaller room off to the side. But they're just decking it out with art all over the place. Matt Graves has done a big backdrop mural, and that's absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, we've booked one show there, and we've got another one coming up in a bit. But we'll talk about that a little bit later, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, that side room there, he always seemed to have a pretty good setup for like a PA system and stuff in there, for just being like a small hole in the wall back parking lot entrance.
Yeah,
kind
he's
of
still got the sound to keep up.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because it's not just some random place with a couple $100 PA that you're gonna blow out. You know, it's actually a decent. It's weird because it's a small setup, but it works so well for what's going on there.
It does.
And I always feel like the sound there is pretty awesome. I mean, we played shows at the Fremont before, and I think that was the first time I ever saw you.
Oh yeah, we played at the Fremont. Yep.
And the Lefties show we saw you at was bar none probably one of my favorite shows I've seen recently, as far as
thank you.
You know, unsigned bands and whatever. Excuse me. But that show in Humboldt's going to be a great one. We were talking about that. Make sure you check that out. You do have music online if somebody wants to check you guys out before the show. I mean, we were talking about how I don't do that, but if somebody wants to check you guys out, you do have some, that EP is online, is it not?
Yeah, Sexy Bastards, at least our half, is all over the place. You could check that out. It's on Spotify. I believe it's on Pandora, Apple Music. They upload it to Facebook through the distributor that we used. They've got it on YouTube. So yeah, just look up Astro Bastards, Sexy Bastards. We've got 3 songs there. Go check it out before the show if you want.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a heck of a good time. I didn't even know it was online until you said something at the last show, and I spun it a few times while I was on the road on my vacation over the last couple weeks, and that was cool. It was pretty awesome. You know, it's always fun to listen to a local band. Like you're cruising through like New Mexico, and you're like, yeah, I'm listening to the Astro Bastards in like nowhere, New Mexico. It's pretty awesome. You know, you get some of that kind of stuff going on. I love that. What do you think about like putting your music online? I mean, obviously it's like almost a necessity to do, but I mean, you're probably not going to get rich from it. But how do you feel about all that?
I actually just logged into DistroKid the other day for the first time since I've put it on, and we've made 63 cents so far. So we are rolling in it.
You got Betty beat by a little bit, so
no. I don't know. The Astro Bastards have actually gone such a long time. We've gone 3 years almost, and we haven't put hardly anything, maybe a cell phone recording here or there online.
Yeah.
But it's always been about just going out to shows and having fun. I mean, if you want to get big, if you want to blow up, obviously you got to have an online presence. So
yeah,
that's definitely important. I think I like to put it out there more, just so that way I know that people that want to hear it get the chance to hear it.
Yeah, man, I like the way that sounds, because I mean, me and John had kind of talked about that, how like if Betty records a new album, what do you want to do with it? And like, what do you want to do with the old album? And how much stuff do you want to put online for free? And like all that other stuff. And they had like a demo that they had recorded before I joined the band. And recently we put most of the demo on a handful of distribution sites. And I mean, it's on Spotify and whatever. Most of the stuff that yours is on, but we ended up putting it on a handful of sites, and we figured, like, what about the other songs? Well, we'll just put them on a CD and we'll sell it for cheap at a show. You know, I mean, we sell it for like $3.
Yeah.
And you get like 13 songs on it. So there's only like 7 online. You get 6 bonus songs with the CD. So it's way cheaper than buying it online, but we also give people, like, it's on places if you really want to buy it. You can buy it. You know, it's 99 cents a song if you want to do it, but I mean, it's also there for free if people don't want to buy it, because I think it just comes down to convenience anymore.
Yeah, it's more about being able to make yourself accessible to people.
Yeah, because I feel like that's one of the biggest downfalls for bands is, like, they don't have literally any presence online. There's no YouTube page. There's no videos of them anywhere, even if it is just a cell phone video. You know, I feel like that was one of the reasons I started this, I guess, was to try to videotape bands and put them online. And, I mean, I've tried recording in the Fremont. It's just a little too dark usually, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it makes for great pictures when somebody's got some lights in there, but it's a little tough to video record in there. And other than that, I mean, I've got some recordings, but we haven't played too many well-lit shows with you, I guess would be my excuse.
No.
That Lefties show would have been baller, but the problem with Lefties is I have to walk around with the camera, and it's not a steady shot, so it ends up being a little... I don't know. I just don't like the way it looks as much. And I can set it on stuff, but the sound system's so good in there that it's just going to vibrate it off a table or something. Yeah. So, yeah, Lefties is a great place to play. They, who was running sound that night? Do you know?
Oh, what's his name?
I'm the worst in the world at remembering sound guys' names, and they're probably the people we need to thank the most when we play.
He's ran sound for us a couple times, and he's always great.
Dude, he was killing it. Like, even with the lights and stuff, he's running lights and...
syncs it up perfect.
Dude, it was amazing. And I think that happened, like, almost every time we end up at Lefties, no matter who's running sound. It almost always sounds good to the crowd. Everyone else just, you sounded so great. And it's, even if the stage volume and stuff isn't perfect, the outside volume is, and that's like really what matters. So it's always pretty awesome. You know, you just, a lot of times you just show up places and you put it in the sound guy's hands, and they're the ones responsible for making us sound good, you know, because they're the ones sitting there doing all the mixing and all the work. Like, sometimes they'll even do work on the fly, you know, like, let's say somebody's running like a 2-channel setup, and this is where they play their solos, and it's not loud enough. They'll even sit there, you know, and boost your volume a little bit. So
keep an eye on you.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to all the sound guys out there. I mean, it's one of those thankless jobs for sure. But you guys are doing God's work out there on the live end for sure. Let's talk about some shows you got coming up. Actually, we got that Humboldt show, and that's February 2nd. But you said you had some other shows coming up, right?
Yeah, we're playing the Valentine's Day Massacre again. That happened at Lefties last year. It was an absolutely phenomenal show. There were actually a couple shows at Vaudeville as well. Silverbacks played that one.
Nice.
And yeah, that's always a great show. Helix Rex Promotions puts that on. Great guys there.
Oh, that's cool.
It's going to be absolutely enormous. If anybody's been at the Barnum Factory in the past year, they've been doing tons of art shows. We've played at a handful of them.
Yeah.
The Rebel Art Alliance has been putting those on, and they're kind of teaming up this year, and they're going to have a big old art show. They're going to have a 3-day concert series. They're going to have a drag show. They're going to have like fetish shows. It's going to be an absolute party. It's going to be amazing.
That's super cool.
Yeah, we've got bands like we'll be playing with the Silverbacks again. We've got bands like Brainless. I played with Brainless on their first show ever, and they absolutely knocked it out of the park. Tons of great bands. Callus, Slide.
Oh, cool.
A lot of great guys playing that one.
Yeah, man. I haven't heard the name Callus in a while.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure they're on that show. I think it's Saturday.
Yeah, that's sweet. I might want to check that one out too, because I haven't seen them in 5 years, 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. It's been a while since I've seen them. That's another thing. Like, there's a lot of bands that have been around Des Moines for a long time that I just either have forgotten about or haven't heard about until later, and you're just thinking like, man, I've seen these guys come up in show flyers and Facebook event pages for the last I don't know how many years. There's so many bands around here.
Oh yeah.
What are some of the bands that I guess that you've played with like more often than not? Because I feel like some bands end up sticking together with other ones.
Yeah, Silverbacks we play with all the time. They're great guys. They're kind of goofy punks just like us, and they have kind of a similar sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
And then we've got the Ghostbusters that we used to play with a lot. Now those guys are Morbo, and those guys are amazing. Robert Sanda, Morbo himself, recorded our EP in his basement. So
cool.
We did on a little 4-track, and it came out awesome. He did all the mixing on that. So
sweet,
shout out to Morbo.
Yeah,
those
man.
guys are amazing.
Yeah, that was a fun show.
Yeah, no, those guys are awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect when I saw them. It was wild.
Quite a party there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but we also played with Slide in the past before. Slide is absolutely amazing. Haven't seen those guys in forever, but if you get a chance to check them out, they'll be playing the Massacre. So
that's cool. I want to say Betty's played a couple shows with them here and there, and they're awesome, man.
Oh, they rip. They're great.
Like what other shows? Is that all the shows you got coming up, or do you got some other ones?
We've also got one coming from New Revolt Promotions. That's actually my promotion group that I put together a while back.
Nice.
We do about 4 shows a year, and we're not super big right now. Not a big concern of mine.
Yeah.
But the whole point of that promotions group that I put together was just to kind of give younger bands a gateway in. I mean,
yeah, man.
When the Astro Bastards started playing, it was like us and a bunch of older dudes. And
yeah.
I'm not ripping on the old guys. They're absolutely amazing. A lot of them have some great bands, but just wanted to bring some new young blood into the music scene. So we promote shows solely with younger kids, newer bands. We had a show a while back in August or so. We held it at the Rock Shop, and that had Brainless and another band called Cab Drivers. And Cab Drivers, absolutely amazing new band.
That's awesome, man.
But this one will have the Astro Bastards playing on it. We normally like to have at least one band that's been locally established. We've had Freak 24 play on it before. That way we can draw a little bit of a crowd to the newer bands. We've also got Jefferson Street, that blues band I was talking about. They'll be playing on it.
That's cool.
Brainless is playing. They're brand new. They've only done a handful of shows. They're a really hardcore type punk band there. So that'll be cool.
That'll be pretty sweet.
There's a newer band from Ottumwa called Uncle, and they're kind of like a silly, goofy, old school sounding punk band. So
cool.
I'm really excited for them.
Dude, yeah, I'd be super stoked to see what that was like. That'd be a hell of a time.
Yeah, so it's a pretty mixed genre show at the Rock Shop, and that's February 24th.
Nice. Oh, that's going to be a hell of a time. You guys share all this stuff on your Astro Bastards Facebook page?
I do share it on the Astro Bastards page, as well as New Revolt Promotions on Facebook. You can find it there, too.
Yeah, you'll have to shoot me the link to that so I can share it in the description section.
Definitely, we'll do.
I was going to ask you, actually, so you guys are... I guess not 21-ish.
We are not 21 yet.
What kind of a cramp does that put on playing shows?
Normally we can work our way around it, whether that's just not telling people that we're not 21 and just having them assume we're older until we get kicked out later. Or, I mean, there are some places that just won't let us play, and we got to deal with that, and we kind of just work around it, but...
Yeah, do you guys end up playing a lot of early shows because of that, or?
We do. We've played quite a few that don't go past 9, but we've gotten into a couple that do.
Yeah, and I always thought that was kind of a weird thing where, I mean, I get the gist of it where you don't want to have underage people in a bar, but also, like, I want to say there's some sort of a loophole for, like, a performer or something, but I'm still not 100% sure on that because there's, like, I think it's a Des Moines thing, is it not? Because, I mean, we're playing a show together up in Humboldt, and, I mean, you're going to be playing on that show. It's a 9 o'clock show. There's nothing against any of that up in Humboldt.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it might just be a Des Moines thing. I don't know. We've played the Fremont a handful of times on some later shows, but I don't think they quite knew that we weren't 21 at that point.
Yeah, and I also think some of it is, like, you guys aren't just going in there and, like, inciting a riot and trying to drink beer and going nuts or anything. Like, you know,
no.
You guys are going in there with, like, a slight business mindset to go in there and do what you're supposed to do. I mean, I've never seen any bands that are under 21 try to go out and do that kind of stuff because it's just totally going to ruin the reputation that everybody has, you know.
I mean, when I play a show and when the guys play a show with me, we just want everybody to have the best time possible. So, I mean, if that means not getting flat out drunk when you're not supposed to get flat out drunk, then you don't do it.
Yeah, bingo, man.
It's like, I mean, I'm not going to ruin it for anybody else who's under 21 in the scene. I don't want to take that opportunity away.
Exactly. And I feel like that's one of the great things you're doing with your promotion that you're starting is actually trying to give some of these younger guys a shot, because I feel like there's not a big enough voice for them, because a lot of places won't book bands.
Exactly, under 21.
Yeah, unless it's an early show. And the bad part about the early show for some places is, like, if you got an early show at 5 and people are getting off work at 5 and then they got to go home and shower.
No one's showing up.
Yeah, and they're not going to show up till 7, and the first couple bands end up getting a little bit snubbed on that end of the deal, and that's the tough part about that one, And sometimes you run into like, oh, we're headlining an early show, but there ends up being a time crunch and you only get like 30 minutes to play tops, or something. So that does actually, that can happen. It's not like it happens all the time. But I always felt like that was something that I figured would be very difficult for somebody that, I don't know why age is such a big deal, and it shouldn't be. And
as a performer, you're performing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not. It's like you said. There's nothing against like you playing with old guys, quote unquote, 'cause that's like me, But
yeah,
but it's also like you end up with this weird like genre not meshing too if you play with people that are too old. Like you go 20 years past your age group and everybody plays metal.
Yeah.
And so you end up with something like that.
And it's just a different audience too. I mean, you play with three bands that are 20 years older than you. The audience is 20 years older than you.
Exactly. And then I don't know. It might end up with this thing where just get everybody in the crowd like, you damn kids.
Exactly.
Man. Yeah. Oh man, but I dig it though. Like, I'm only like 10 years older than you guys, and I totally dig what you're doing, and maybe that's just because it brings me back to being younger and kind of being a little rowdy myself. But I miss doing that. That's probably like the one reason I dig you guys so much. And you just remind me of like
thank you.
I don't know, just being a kid and trying to play in a band and just getting all your buddies together and all your friends come out to see you and everybody kind of supports each other. And
right, yeah.
It's not like playing music for 10 years hasn't worn on you yet, but that's a little bit of that too.
Oh, I sure hope I'm playing in 20 years from now.
Because I feel like some people, and I'm not calling anybody out, but I feel like some people, they just get so weathered by playing music all the time and seeing just the same people and
just kind of start to phone it in.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't have anybody specific in mind, but that was maybe one of the biggest fears of mine, was just like, you go out to shows and maybe you can attest to this. You see that same, ranging from 10 to 30, 40 people at every show.
Oh yeah.
It seems like. Mm-hmm. And every now and then you get some new people out there, like at your guys' show, you brought so many people to that show. We had so many new faces see through Finger Betty. It was crazy.
Hey, yeah.
And that, it's just one of those deals where I figured it was just extra tough to kind of get that. So sometimes I feel like having some of the older people see you might actually benefit you, because it's a whole new set of eyes that would never come to your show.
That's
anyways.
true. That is true.
I always like to talk about how everybody gets that clean slate. So you go in there and it's like, well, you're younger and nobody's heard of you because they're all in an older group of people and they're with a different clique or whatever you want to call it. They just hang out in a different area of Des Moines, and then you show up and you just tear the bar apart or whatever.
As long as you blow it away.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one reason I kind of like playing those shows, especially the ones where like it feels like your genre might not match with everyone else's, because it gives you that weirdly clean slate where everyone's like, oh man, and especially like I always like to harken back to like Van Halen. They always had like, Cool in the Gang or something opening up for them, and it's like, that doesn't match, but like the opening band is now like the party band. Everyone's drinking and having a good time while this band is playing, and then all of a sudden the headliner, the band that all the older people in the bar came to see, is there, and then they're all tuned up and ready because you guys got them all excited,
Exactly, yeah.
And I friggin' dig it though. Like, there's a little bit of toughness that comes to like booking a show, because I just started doing it, and my last podcast I did was with Dominic Derringer, and we were talking about booking shows and having it sometimes kind of be difficult. You've booked a few shows.
Oh yeah.
So like, how do you view? Is it like difficult to try and find places to play or people to play with, or?
Normally, I don't know. I've got some pretty good connections with people that I know in the scene, and I'm able to actually book the shows pretty well. I think the issue with me comes with follow through. I think a lot of places can sometimes be a little inconsistent, but I think that just falls on the promoter as well to have that constant communication with them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed when I was trying to book some shows last year that a lot of places will take bookings in windows. So it's like we're booking everything next month, this month, or 2 months or 3 months down the road this month, or whatever. And so you'd always be like, hey, you guys got any bookings? And it's like, well, we've got this one date open in the next quarter. And it's like, can't make that date. And then they're like, well, hit us up in 3 months. And by then I forget about it.
And then
it comes down to one of those things like, well, we tried to play here one time, but it didn't work. And then I forgot to hit them up. And it's not like anybody hates each other, but I'm sure it's that weird like communication breakdown. That's just, everyone's just kind of like, did they really want to play here? Or, that was always the issue I feel like I ran into maybe.
I played a show with New Revolt. It was a brand new band. It was Forget About Me's first show. One of their first shows as a full band. They play a little bit more frequently now around the area. Freak 24 was playing, and this awesome solo act, Barton Jenke. He's in Jefferson Street. Again, those guys are awesome. They're coming out to play with us in February. But we played this show. I'm not going to name the venue because I don't want to throw any hate on anybody. But we were playing somewhere, and it was a restaurant by day, venue by night, and they told us they'd have it cleared out by a certain time, and it went about an hour over. There were still people eating in there. We couldn't move any of the tables around. We couldn't set up any of the sound equipment. So we're about an hour away from hometown. Everybody who came out to the show has driven quite a ways, and we're about an hour behind schedule. It was a rough time, but
yeah, and that'd be like a tough business model to run though too, because like you're kind of at the whim of whoever wants to come in and eat, too.
Oh yeah.
I always thought that having a restaurant would be like the hardest business probably to run.
Yeah, I don't think that they run any shows anymore.
Oh man, that's difficult. Like you've been playing around Des Moines probably longer than I have.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen your fair share of small places like come and go or start utilizing live music, and then it kind of goes away or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not going to ask you to like name any places, but like does that seem to be a thing that happens too? Is like you got to try and always be on the lookout for the new places to play music?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen a lot of people play like gas station shows online and stuff, and it looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And I've seen even people do like hotel lobby punk shows, and I don't even know how they pull it off, but I'm like, that's amazing. So, I mean, yeah, I'm always looking around and keeping an ear out for anybody that knows about any connections to anything like that. I'd be more than willing to play in a come and go. I think that'd be a party.
That'd be amazing, man. I remember reading an article about a band playing at a Waffle House a few years back, and that was like they were on the road and they like broke down and couldn't make it to their show, so they were like near a Waffle House and they just like walked all their stuff over to a Waffle House.
Let's do it.
And so it was like one of those deals where they were like always tweeting Waffle House, and like after every show they take a picture in a Waffle House and send it to them, and like
that's awesome.
And then they tweet Waffle House like, hey, we broke down, but we're still going to go to Waffle House, and the place was like, well, bring your gear, play here, so they played like right in the entryway. Have you ever played any kind of crazy shows like that, or?
I haven't played anything quite that crazy. No, I haven't. But we've done a lot of like, I go out and busk sometimes just for fun. The Astro Bastards, we have like all the acoustic gear and stuff. We'll just set up somewhere and do like a full set on a sidewalk until we get kicked out.
That's actually pretty awesome. It's like door to door rocking.
Exactly.
You guys should have done like Astro Bastards Christmas caroling or something and put it on YouTube or something.
You have a second to talk about our Lord and Savior?
You just knock on the door and they're like, oh, we got carolers. And then you start playing Dropkick by Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Slam the door in your face and walk away.
I'd give it a shot. I'll tell you what.
That'd be freaking hilarious.
That would.
Oh, man. I would, you guys are, if anybody does anything kind of funny like that, it'd be you guys, because like we were talking about,
for sure.
You always just have, I mean, it's not nonsense, but you always just do this like funny stuff at shows.
No,
and I said, it's not like it's at every single show, but it's almost every show I've seen you at. It seems like you always do something kind of nuts,
Yeah. The idea is, I mean, we're playing some old school sounding punk, maybe with a little more modern edge, but it's just we're taking on some modern issues in some of our songs, but we're just trying to keep it lighthearted. And the way I've always dealt with a lot of my problems is through humor. So I mean, that translates through to the music really well.
Yeah, that's probably like the biggest parallel between Three Finger Betty and you guys is the fact that like we will both discuss I guess hard-hitting topics or whatever, but like we
the modern themes.
Yeah, still try to keep it lighthearted, still try to like joke about it and let everybody have a little bit of fun with it. And I guess like our thing is like I try to be like as high energy as possible and let people have fun. But
Oh yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
no. Gotta have a good time with it, but I mean, can't forget we live in a crazy world.
yeah, that's true. I mean it. That's one of those things. Like some of these songs almost write themselves. Like you can just. I mean, it's almost like having a band is like an extrapolated audio form of like having a Twitter account. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
exactly.
it's like what could be one small tweet you could just stretch into a song and then make a song about it.
Yeah. Tweet could be a hook easy.
Oh yeah, especially with especially with punk music. 'Cause
Oh yeah.
it's not like it's ridiculously involved to write a punk song.
No.
Some of them can be. It's kind of crazy how tough some punk songs are to play actually.
Oh yeah.
But it's the way it goes. So like, where do you think you guys draw most of your inspiration from writing like Astro Bastards songs, or like who does most of the writing, or how does all that kind of shake down?
So our whole thing is we never wanted to like box ourselves into a genre. I mean, obviously we're very punk rock inspired, and that's kind of like where we get a lot of it from. But I mean, this past weekend we just wrote like a rockabilly song that we'll be playing at the Humboldt's show. I mean,
That's
it's
awesome.
very 50s sound and very bluesy. So we're excited to premiere that one.
That is sweet.
But we all kind of write some different stuff. So we're all pretty open-minded about our music taste, at least the lineup that we've got now, and we're all experienced enough in our music to write for the band. So one song that you hear could be written by me, and the next one's going to be Carson, and the next one's going to be Joe. So it's pretty freeing to have that kind of open discussion about what you're doing.
Yeah, man, I bet. Because I mean, every band has a little bit of a different setup as to how the songs come about, or who writes what, et cetera, and it just kind of depends on the band and the people in the band and the creative juices that get to flow through the the artists that are in the band or whatever. But like Betty is mostly John doing like
Yeah.
almost all the legwork. And, he writes almost all the songs. He writes most of the riffs, and it's just the way that he does like all the soloing and stuff.
Yeah.
And I let him do it because it's it's his baby, and it's not that he doesn't want anyone else to write stuff. It's just the way it is. It's just the way
Definitely.
it is.
Yeah, I'll normally take most of the lyrics, but for most of the music and stuff, that's pretty open to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you always have you always been writing lyrics, or is it just something that you just started in the Astro Bastards, or is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Since I've been little, I've been really into literature and poetry a lot. I read a lot of Tolkien, and his work is always like filled with poetry. A lot of Lord of the Rings, they've just got intermittent poems all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've always been into stuff like that. So I've just been writing since I was little. And this stuff that we're working on now, this last EP that we did was very historical, I guess. I mean, there's a punk song about like the crimes of Christopher Columbus, syphilis, and then there's one about like the sexual exploits of Rasputin and Mad Monk. So I don't know. They're simple and they're stupid, but I like writing them.
Yeah, the topic matter is not necessarily something you would hear on a daily basis,
No.
Or maybe even from a punk band.
Mm-hmm.
Not that punk bands aren't deep, but
No, yeah, but it's a little out there.
Yeah, it's almost like Iron Maiden topics,
Yeah.
Like, geez, they write songs about like Rime of the Ancient Mariner and stuff,
Yeah. But all of our albums or our different pursuits are probably going to be pretty varied. I mean, we've already got our next 2 albums kind of laid out. We've got the one that's coming up soon, hopefully, is Dirty Sauce, and Dirty Sauce is all about blood and semen. That's what we say Dirty Sauce is.
Gross.
Yeah. But that one's all
man.
about kind of nostalgia and kind of the big choices you make in life, whether it's violent or sexual or...
That's actually pretty deep.
Yeah.
When you lost me at the beginning, and then you brought me all the way back, though, because I actually, I feel like, not that that's the struggle of man, but it almost is the struggle of man. Are
you going to be violent? Are you going to be deviant? Are you going to make these
the
choices?
struggles to power, or whatever you want to call it, So that's actually pretty deep, man. I dig it.
Yeah, thanks. And then the next one's going to be called Nice Bike. And Nice Bike is just about anything that we can think of. It's going to be off the wall, bonkers, goofy, because as a group, whenever we're driving by somebody on the street, we'll roll down the window and just scream Nice Bike at them, regardless of whether or not they have a bike.
That's hilarious. Oh, that's super cool. I love those kind of inside jokes too. Like when I was growing up, my sister had this joke where she would, every time she came up next to a Jeep, she would yell at them and tell them to slow down. Like even if it was like at a stoplight.
They're going really slow.
Yeah, like you just like pull up next to them, like slow down, Jeep, and then just turn right, go away. Like
That's hilarious.
that's like that kind of stuff. I freaking love it, man.
Yeah.
So, and then it comes to life in music,
Yeah.
I mean, what like how do you ever like write this stuff down sometimes when it comes to you, or is it just stuff that you just kind of like daydream and then it just comes out when you're playing music, or like how does it all?
Most of the stuff that I actually write down gets scrapped. I mean, I almost use nothing that I write. I'll think of something to be like, that's a great idea, write it down, and then I try to implement it, and I'm like, that doesn't work at all.
Yeah, man.
Most of the time we just play, and then it comes.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, let me ask you this. You got any tattoos?
I do have some tattoos. I've got Calvin and Hobbes on my arm.
That's awesome.
Absolutely love Calvin and Hobbes. I got Bone on my shoulder. He's also a cartoon from when I was little.
Oh, cool.
And then I got a kind of a nerdy sigil. It's from the Silmarillion, also by Tolkien.
Yep.
So that's on my other shoulder. And then I got a homemade one on my knee. That's a band logo for Frank Airo and the Celebration. There, he's one of my favorite writers. And then I've actually got my homemade tattoo kit here, so if you want one.
Oh yeah, hook me up. No, I'm good. I got nothing. I was just wondering though, because you like write the lyrics and you scrap most of them later. I mean, because either you don't like them or they don't fit. And then I was like, well, how about tattoos then? Do you ever like get a tattoo and you're like, man, I should have scrapped this one?
I have everyone tell me that I'm gonna regret the cartoons. They're like the cool like medieval sigil. That's cool. I like that, but you're gonna regret those cartoons. But I don't know. I've liked Calvin and Hobbes since I was a baby, so
yeah, dude, Calvin and Hobbes is awesome.
Probably keep liking them for the rest of my life.
I recall when I was growing up, there was a barber shop in my hometown that had Calvin and Hobbes like comic books in there.
Yeah.
And so I'd like go in there and wait to get a haircut and always read Calvin and Hobbes. So
That's
it's like
awesome.
burned in my head from a young age. I just love that stuff. Like what is it? Like Spaceman Zip was his like alter ego.
Yeah, Spaceman Zip.
And then like I remember him like making a bunch of little snowmen and a city and then like
decapitating them and stuff. Yeah.
It's just so funny, and it's almost dark, but it's not,
No, yeah.
It's super funny. And I the reason I don't have any tattoos is just because I don't have I don't know. I just never chose anything and stuck with it. I've always had some in mind, but I just never got around to it. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I give tattoos to people all the time here at home, but I always tell them, like, look, I don't want to be the guy that you remember giving you that shitty tattoo that you regret when you're 40. Like, think this out. And
yeah, no kidding. That's I mean, I don't even know. Like I said, I always like choose something to get tattooed, and I'm always like, well, just let it sit and simmer for a while, and then after a while, you either like forget or you're just like, that was a bad idea, and I'm glad I didn't do it, because I mean, I've always thought about like the dumbest stuff ever. I mean, like, and maybe it isn't that dumb, but like I've always had like some sort of an affinity to like Woodstock from Peanuts.
Yeah.
So like I always thought it'd be funny to have a Woodstock tattoo.
That'd be pretty cool.
And then it's just like, is that a chick tattoo? And then it's like, I mean, it's 2019, nobody cares about that anymore. So it's just like one of those deals, like, should I get this thing? And like, where do you get it? You get it on your butt, or what do you do?
Yeah.
like there's like no like super aggro place to get one.
Do I want to be able to hide it at some point? Yeah. That's the question you gotta ask.
Oh man. And I mean, I have seen some doozies of tattoos with like some coworkers and stuff, but I mean, like, it's nothing that like long sleeves can't cover. I mean,
exactly.
You can always be professional about it if you need to be, as long as you're not like getting tattoos up the side of your face,
Oh yeah.
And there's nothing against that either, but it might be a little tougher to get a job based on.
That's my next one.
Yeah, let's do it. Can do it right now.
Yeah, I got the needles.
Do you tattoo your own face? Good God, man, that'd be. I don't even know if I'd watch that.
I can't tattoo myself. I mean, I've got the one on my knee that my buddy did at home, but I couldn't do it to myself.
Yeah,
it'd be weird.
That's kind of weird though. Like, why not? Is it like a self-mutilation thing, or what's the?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, when I'm hitting somebody else, I don't have to like think about, oh, this is gonna hurt. But when I'm doing it to myself, I don't know. Your brain kind of tricks you.
Yeah, I get it now. Yeah, it totally makes sense. There's like no real way to get around it. It's kind of like tickling yourself.
Yeah,
you can't tickle yourself.
No,
it's like you realize you're gonna have to poke yourself. And
exactly.
That'd be rough stuff, man. So I feel like we covered quite a bit. I mean, we're getting pretty close to an hour, and that's usually what I shoot for. So okay. I mean, we're doing pretty good.
Sweet.
We talked about how the Astro Bastards started. We talked about some of your shows coming up, like some of your inspiration.
Yes, sir.
The places people can see you. How about your social media? You guys got, I know you got Facebook.
We got Facebook and Instagram, and that's
Sweet.
really where we're at mostly. We don't have a YouTube channel, but the distribution center that we use puts everything on YouTube for us, so it's like a fake YouTube channel for us.
Oh,
you
cool.
can check it out on YouTube.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll try and find it. If not, just send me the
Yeah.
link and I'll post that
shoot
bad boy
some.
too, or at least subscribe to it, because I'm all about that YouTube subscribes, man.
Oh yeah,
I mean, like,
help people out.
it's so crazy because like the YouTube channel I started for Audible Farm has 70 subscribers. Like where'd all those come from?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
almost more than my Instagram account that I created for it, which is wild. Like
That is
Instagram is
crazy.
pretty popular, and I figured people would tag to it. But I also only post like, upcoming podcasts that are going to be out and stuff like that. So it's not like
Yeah.
my Instagram is super busy. Most of the time, if I take pictures at shows, I just put them on Facebook.
Okay.
But you guys, you got Facebook for your promotion company, correct?
Yes, that's the only place the promotion company is currently, but we got a Facebook page for New Revolt Promotions.
How about merch? You got any of those CDs left?
We have tons of CDs left. We made a lot of those, so if anybody wants one, hit me up at a show or message me on Facebook. I can hook you up.
You guys send them out? You ever done any of that?
I have not done any of that. I might actually look into that.
So, I mean, there you go. Don't be shy about hitting them up. He might send you one. So,
Yeah.
what about T-shirts and such?
We have had T-shirts in the past. Our last few T-shirts got stolen at one show, so...
What?
Yeah, I don't know. We
Like-
left the merch table unattended for a minute, and then the box was gone, so... Someone's out there with some illegal Astro Bastards T-shirts. I'd like those back.
Dude, I'm like flabbergasted. Like nobody steals any of your instruments or nothing. They steal your T-shirts.
No, yeah, it was
what?
just at the merch table.
What is that? That is like
We,
some of the most low rent stuff
It
I've ever
is.
heard in my life, man.
I don't know what happened. But yeah, we don't have T-shirts anymore.
Oh man.
But we're looking at getting some more soon. So
Oh, sweet, man.
near future,
Yeah, I got to get me an Astro Bastards shirt. So next time you got one, make sure you hit
we'll
me
do.
up. I'll take
Send
an
that your way.
I'll take an XL in case I get to balloon up when I'm older and you guys are still famous. I'll
I gotcha.
I'll
Yeah,
rock that shirt. Maybe if I get a beer gut, even though I don't drink beer, like.
definitely.
So yeah, man. You got anything else that I mean?
No, I mean, just shout outs to some of our favorite people. Matt Graves, again, does a great job on all of our art. New Revolt Promotions, go check that out. We've also got Rebel Art Alliance that we work with all the time, supporting local artists, local musicians. They're amazing. Morbo recorded the album for us. Steve Ratcliffe putting on a lot of amazing shows at the Rock Shop.
Yeah, man. Oh man, that's a great shout out there. I love
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks for doing the podcast with me. We'll get this puppy up here in not too long. And thanks for doing that Humboldt show. It's gonna be super killer.
No problem at all. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. I cannot wait. It's gonna be a hell of a show. So
Yeah,
I'll
well.
shake your hand here real quick. Thank
Oh,
you
yeah.
very much for doing the podcast.
No problem.
And Cobey Murray, everybody.
Later.
Hey guys, awesome podcast with Cobey Murray from the Astro Bastards. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I've got a lot of the Astro Bastards stuff down below. I mean, they're pretty much everywhere online. I shared some of their hot spots down below. I also shared the New Revolt Promotions Facebook page down below as well. So make sure you check that out for some show updates and everything else they got going on. The Astro Bastards Facebook page is where you can find most of their shows. You can also find some awesome pictures from that Lefties show for their EP release they did. They dressed up in those spacesuits. It was hella cool. There's some pictures of that on there. There's also some pictures on their Instagram account, and I've got a link to that down below too. So check them out. You can also check them out on Spotify as well as YouTube and a handful of other places. Their music is pretty much everywhere. So go ahead and check those guys out. And if you want to check them out live, we're going to be playing with them in Three Finger Betty up in Humboldt at the Prowler on February 2nd. That show's going to be awesome. Just check the Astro Bastards Facebook page or the Three Finger Betty Facebook page for the shares for that. And as always, thanks for listening. I'm going to have an awesome podcast ready for you next week as well. 2019's looking real good. Thanks everybody for listening. I'll check you next time.